Having a great Saturday, and thank you for all the jazz lovers who show up from week to week, and for the new people, welcome to the Jazz Mental Saturday live stream. It's Paul Toby here. Thanks for joining me and taking the time out of your busy lives, especially in this busy time of year, to spend some time with me. I truly appreciate it. Lots going on today. We've got Christmas season on our minds. I've actually got a Christmas concert coming up on December the 18th that I'll talk a little bit about, that you're all invited to. Hopefully you can make it. We're also going to do an end reveal today. The end reveal is going to be my favorite or go-to 1 major 7 left-hand comping voicing. It's an interesting one. I don't think it's been adopted by a lot of piano players, but I tend to go to it consistently, not all the time, of course, because you want to mix things up, but it's something that I think you're going to really enjoy. We've also got today's free download, which I'm going to share in just a second. I'll pin it to the top of the chat. I'm also going to talk about my new book a little bit, called Jazz for the Holidays, which was an extensive project that I put together of piano transcriptions from my playing. And I'm going to give you the opportunity to take a look at that and perhaps fund it and the channel with your goodwill here at the Jazz Mental channel. Saying hi to many of you in the chat who are deeply committed from week to week. Shell, Rich, Friedrich, Amadeo, Keith, Suzanne, and others who have not yet joined the chat area. That's where we hang out, talk about things, ask questions. Time to get the Christmas groove on, like some of you are saying. Appreciate that. Hope everyone's recovered from Black Friday syndrome. I didn't actually run Black Friday this year. Interesting story behind that. It's not that I didn't really want to. We do things differently a little bit here on the Jazz Mental channel. But I also had server issues. So I have a dedicated server that was giving us all kinds of errors. I think it's kind of wearing out. So we might have to migrate a little bit over the next little while. So anyway, that's what happens with servers. That's a story for another day. Let's put the free sheet music link up. I'm going to paste it now. There it is. And I will put a notice on the screen momentarily. I've pinned it to the top of the chat and put a download link notice on the page. So just check that out. It'll be there throughout today's session. No hurry. I think it should be working okay. If everybody rushes it once, might delay it a little bit, but I think it should be fine. So hey, thanks for downloading it. We're going to talk about this tune, which is a jazz waltz. So basically, I think the main premise that we want to discuss today is how to make swing out of a 3/4 tune. And some of the voicings and ideas that you can put into your swing 3/4 waltz, obviously, to make it a little more beautiful and a lot more groove. That's what we really chase here on the Jazz Mental channel, isn't it? A little more groove, or a lot more groove, as it were. Some of you saying hi. Hey, PJ from Poland. Nice to see you. And Paul and Nancy, I hope all is well with both of you from Urbana, Illinois. Everything is going great, actually. Thank you for asking. Go grab the sheet music link, and I'm going to place on the screen right now what we're going to be working on today. So this is the download, and you'll receive 3 pages. 2 of them are sheet music, and the next one talks about the jazz piano transcriptions book for Christmas. So I'm excited to talk to you about that. It's definitely a project that was hard to put together, and lengthy, but it's there and it's ready to go. So we will talk about that momentarily. All right. The first thing I normally do on this channel is I play through the tune. I'm going to take the sheet music off the screen because I can't scroll while I play. And it tends to be a little distracting. So we'll just take it off the screen for now. Things to listen for. So here's what I want you to listen for. First is I'm going to start off rubato. So listen to the difference between... And by the way, we're doing a sound check too, so if you could let me know that you can hear my voice okay. And the piano. So we're going to start off with rubato. And I think like any Christmas tune or any tune that has a great melody, especially this one, and if you want to go after tunes with great melodies, just look to Frank Sinatra because he's the one that actually commissioned this tune in 1954. And I think the reason why he did that was because he didn't have a waltz in his repertoire, and he just commissioned a waltz, and this is what they came up with. And it's a great melody. So a lot of times when you have a great melody, it has to come through. It doesn't matter which style you're playing in, be it rubato or 3/4 swing, that melody has to make its way through. And I think everybody recognizes the melody, especially if you listen to me Christmas music, which I pretty much have done for a long time. So listen for the melody sticking out. The next thing to listen for is sort of how it makes its way into 3/4 swing. There's a big difference, by the way, between a regular waltz, which typically you would hear something like this. To this. To me, there's a huge groove difference between the two. So we're going to discuss that, and also how the two hands interplay to make a great arrangement while you're soloing. So lots of things to think about today and lots of things to listen for. Thank you for the feedback, Friedrich, on the sound. I appreciate that. All right, let's get down to business. I'm going to play the tune. Hopefully you enjoy this. Sit back, relax. One of the things that I really like about Saturday as I get the chance to play a little bit for you, and I appreciate the experiential ears that show up to listen. And I think, especially at this time of year, it's great to just sort of listen to music and forget about things. Yes, we like to analyze things as musicians, and I want you to do that, but also just enjoy the music, and I'll see you in a few minutes. Hey, I got the feedback from Tanner that the piano could be a little bit louder. I think you need to turn it up a little bit on your end. I struggle a little bit here on the channel with distortion. Sometimes if the gain is a little bit too much on the piano, it tends to distort a little bit. And I have really no control over that if it gets to that point. So I like to keep it down a little bit. So maybe if you've got a little bit better speakers or headphones or something like that, if you could turn it up yourself, that would really help me out. So just a quick hello to Gerard and Dawn, and I think I said hi to Friedrich already. Tanner, of course, for making some noise about the piano sound. I appreciate that. And Ben, good to see you. And Rich likes the blues vamp. Yeah, I do too. I think with any sort of swing tune, even if it's 3/4, kind of like to throw a little blues in there because, like I always say, never miss an opportunity to play blues, especially when we don't have bendy notes like guitar players and horn players. We have to rely on double stops and blues scales and things like that. So, yeah. Let me throw the sheet music on the screen. We'll talk about a few things. I'm going to give you the aha moments and the 150-foot view, but I'm also going to, like you know from me, be a little more granular than maybe a lot of people, because unlike them, I like sharing pretty much everything that I do so that some of it rubs off on you and you can find some great ideas to add to your own style, which is really the point of jazz. It's a music and a language that needs to be shared. Let me put the sheet music overlay on the screen. So, actually, you know what I might do? Let me just take a quick screenshot. There we go. And I've got my little pen here ready to go. We'll do some writing. Any questions that you have while we go through this, and any questions that you have so far, are always welcome. And I know that many of you sometimes feel a little bit overwhelmed with jazz, and that I can be overwhelmed by it too. So don't feel bad if you're thinking you're asking a rudimentary question. One of the things that I find interesting about people that comment on our videos is I often get the question, oh, I'd love to be able to make some sweet sounds like that. Can you give me some advice? Yeah, I can give you some advice. You know, start showing up at these things and get a little more granular, because I think people are looking for shortcuts, and there aren't really any in terms of jazz. I like to share my knowledge, but if you're thinking you're going to go from not playing jazz this week to playing jazz next week, it kind of doesn't work like that. So if you can ask questions that are a little more involved and specific, those are the questions that we can dig into. So start thinking about that as we go through the tune. One of the first things that I really like about this is that it has these pauses. If you don't know what the little hats with the dots underneath are, they're pauses. So it's kind of like you slow down at that point. You just kind of play the voicings. Now, the first voicing, it says G minor over C. That's because it really is a G sus chord, which I could have put, but I kind of wanted to get you to sort of think about G minor over C. So like a G minor 9 chord, you can even write that in, like here. So G minor 9, if you go down from the root, G, B flat, D, F, A, that's G minor 7 with a 9th. So there's the 7th chord, 9th is on top. You can even do 11, and that's the melody note. So it's like this. So it's really, again, if you take out the bass note, it's like a B major 7 with a 9, but it's also G minor 7 with an 11th. Just like this, and play it like that, and it sounds great. And then C plus 7. Plus means sharp 5. So what I like to do there is put the tritone in the left hand and then just play the sharp 5 and then the melody note. Remember, you always have to catch the melody note. Most important thing. I roll them too sometimes. But make the melody notes sing, right? And you could even arpeggiate that if you wanted to. Like, I don't particularly, it's not my style of playing, but if you wanted to go a little bit more cocktail, you could go. And then something like that. Or you could roll the chords like that. Personally, I just think that's a little bit too flowery for jazz, so I don't really do it, but you could do it if you wanted to. But really, it's those two notes. You can do this, left hand, and right hand just plays octaves. Mix it up a bit. You have lots of choices because that comes in just before the B section. It comes back in before you get back to the repeat. So it's there a lot, so enjoy that part. And then the biggest trick to this tune is to remember this, that no matter where you are in the tune, and it's easy to get lost because it repeats so much. This is 1, 6, 2, 5. And of course, if you want to be a little bit more, like I said, specific about that, that's 1 major 7, 5, 7, sharp 11, or sharp 5, whatever you want to do, and then 2 minor 9, and then 5, 7 sus chord before you get back to the next bar, which is the same thing all over again, except we're going to use tritone substitutions the next time around. So instead of going to 1, we're going to go to 3, and then flat 3, 7, right? Tritone substitution of this chord, D7, and then 2, 5. So 1, 6, 2, 5, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1, 6, 2, 5, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1, 6, 2, 5, 3, 6, 2, 5. That's pretty much the whole tune until we get to the B section, which changes a little bit. It's still 3, 6, 2, 5, but we change the chords up because of the melody notes. So here's my first sort of insider, what's the word I'm looking for? Insider's tip or insider's aha moment. That's a good one. Insider aha moment is when you play these chords, no matter what you're doing, the left hand is going to play something like this. It's going to play on 1 and then 2 with the chord. So it plays on the root, and then beat 2, it's playing a chord. You could play shell voicings, just one note in each, or it can play chords. And in order to get that swing feel, one of the things that I really like to do is play a ghost note, love that word, ghost note, on the and of 3. So for example, let's just go down here. If this is beat 1, 2, and 3, there's going to be a note right here, which is called a ghost note. And it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, and ghost note on the end of 3. 4, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You could do it in more than just on the 4th bar. You can do it on every note if you wanted to. If you do it too much, it kind of doesn't work really well. But let's just play the melody note just with that. that ghost note sneaking in there every now and then? But that's what really gives it that swing. Now, obviously, when you're talking about 3/4 time, you really have to think about where the accents are. So it's like rest, accent, rest, accent, rest, accent. One and two and three and one and two and three and one and two and three and one and two and three. The accents are on the and. 2, 3, and. That's why you get that sort of skipping sound, right? You get it? It's much more difficult, by the way, to do this in 3/4 than it is to do in 4/4. If we were to play this tune in 4/4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, right? It's a very different sound. I'm getting the 4/4 confused with 3/4. I just have to get my head around it for a second. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it switches back into 3/4. So my mind is kind of like, it's into 3/4 now, so we're just going to stay there. But you get the idea. It's harder in 3/4. I think one thing that might actually help is not just the ghost notes, but also this note right here. Let me change the color and highlight that a little bit right here. So this is the and of 2. Right, the and of 2. And that's a very important part. You could even do that with the left hand. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3. But I think it's a lot easier to play on 2 rather than and. But the feel is there on the and. That's a lot of talking from me. Let's see if there's any comments or questions about this. Ghost note seems to be that bass trick you taught last week. Yeah, Allison, that's true. We weren't talking about 3/4, though. We were working on this tune. And what she means by last week, for those of you that were in last Saturday's live stream, she's not talking about that. She's talking about our private masterclass that we do every month on a Wednesday, last Wednesday of every month. You could join us if you wanted to, but kind of have to invest in that. But anyway, we were doing this tune. And then the ghost notes. Right, that's sort of like ghost note. What's the name of that tune? Satin Doll. Yeah. Had a senior's moment there for a second. Thanks for pointing that out, by the way, Allison. Lots of little emojis going on here. I'm not sure what is this. I missed it. It's Emoji Day, National Emoji Day. Not sure. I like it though. Could the ghost notes also be notated as an eighth note grace note? No. If you're going to play ghost notes, just notate them as regular eighth notes. You don't need to, because there's a difference between a grace note and an actual note. It's just because of where it's placed and because of how it's played, it's not really a grace note. It's more like a bass line idea. And so I wouldn't necessarily do that. Could you do it? Yeah, I mean, you can do anything you want, but I wouldn't do that. That doesn't make sense. In fact, if you put a grace note in the and of the beat on beat 3 in the bass, I think you'd get a piano player kind of scratching his head, or a bass player scratching his head going, what are you talking about? I don't know what you mean by that. So yeah, it's kind of not normally done. Could you do it? Yes, you could. Thank you for the question. Can you describe the difference between classic waltz and jazz waltz? All right, Friedrich, nothing like getting right down to the whole point of the thing, which is everything we're talking about, by the way, ghost notes, playing on the and of 2, that's all part of swing. If you wanted to go from the very beginning and talk about waltz, both of them are in 3/4. Both of them are written the same. If you're going to write straight eighth notes, those eighth notes would be written the same in swing. Right? And this is straight eighth notes. And if you're going to go swing, it's the same. It's written as eighth notes. It just swings. Notice the left hand is 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3. A lot of the time it's comping on the and of 2. So there's the first difference is the eighth notes are swing. The first one is a little bit longer than the second one, but the accent is on the second note. It's like this. Right? Whereas in straight eighths, there's no accents. In jazz or swing, you have to accent the and of the beat. So not only is the first note a little bit longer than the second one, the accent is on the second beat. Then the ghost notes in the left hand, and the fact that you're sometimes playing on the and of 2 as a comper. Boom, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3, boom, 2. You wouldn't do that in straight ahead waltz or straight waltzes. You would play. You play 1. Whereas jazz or swing is like this. And that's the basic difference between the two. I hope that answers your question. By the way, in honor of Christmas and the fact that we're starting Christmas music, we may not do it next week. I don't know. We'll see how the Spirit moves me, but I did wear Christmas socks. And they're red, and they're very Christmassy. They've got little Christmas duckies and got some garland and some Christmas decorations on my socks. So I hope you appreciate the effort that I made for you, going all out on the Christmas motif for today. Soon we will have a Christmas tree in here, especially for the Christmas concert. By the way, make note of this. I should probably write that on your screen because you're all going to get an invite, and I hope you can make it. Go to your calendars now, by the way, and let me see if I can write the date here. So the date is going to be December. Actually, let me write the day. So Thursday, December 18th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, for those of you that are in Europe, it might be a little bit difficult to make that, but it's on your screen. Thursday, December 18th, 2025, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will send you an invite. Now, it is called typically, and this will be the 6th or 7th annual. Not sure which one it is. I started it during COVID, so I think it might be the 6th annual. I might have started actually before COVID, so it could be 7th. Not sure. Don't remember. I will find out when I look at last year's invitation. But it is considered the Paul Toby Friends and Family Christmas concert. But you're all my friends here now on the Jazz Mental channel after so many months of meeting every Saturday. And for those of you that are new, ask the other people. They've been here for a long time. I want you there. So if you can make it, put it in your calendar. Can I get at least one person in the chat area that says, hey, Paul, thanks for the invite? I'd appreciate that. Thank you. Take that off your screen. And you will, like I said, be getting an invite more formally by email. All right, that's a lot of writing on that thing. What else can I say about the A section? Because it's really just an A repeating, and there's like a coda on this thing. There's actually more bars in the B section than there is in the A section, so we'll talk about that in just a second. Let me erase all of this just to kind of get back to square one. All right, so we finished off talking about grace notes and the and of two. Now, one of the other things that I like to do with swing and waltz is to play the chords from the outside in. What does that mean? It means, you know this thing that we did with the left hand? Right? You could do that with the right hand too. So the right hand plays the top note and then comes in, where the left hand plays the bottom note and comes up. Right hand top note going down. That's a gross exaggeration of what I'm talking about, but that's the feel. It's kind of like outer notes, inner notes. It's a great concept, and it really helps you with the feel of this thing, right? 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and So get used to that. I think it's really just a feel thing. Does it matter what note you're playing on top? No, it doesn't matter. You can play any note you want as long as it makes sense harmonically, right? What kind of interesting chords, before I ditch the A section, what kind of interesting chords can we do? One of the things I think is a cool opportunity is when you use this 3, 6, 2, 5, when you get to this chord here, or the 6th chord, that, think about that like F over A flat 7, like this. Why? Because the melody note is the flat 9. And then this note is the 13th of A flat, and then this note is the 3rd. But listen to the sound that it makes. Hear that? It's just an F major triad over an A flat 7 shell voicing. Root, flat 7. It's dissonant because it's got the tritone here, and then it's also got this. So it's kind of, it's not overly dissonant, but it kind of really works because of that melody note. So now, the next one that I like, and I you know me, I like to go dissonance and then resolve. So when we get to the C7 flat 9, one of the things I like is you can put the C and the D flat, which is the flat 9, together. So there's the D flat there, and then the C, play that in the bottom, you get this voicing like this, because the melody note is here. So you've got root, flat 9, 3rd, and then the 13th. So that's kind of the voicing you get. You could also play a B flat down here, which is the 7th, and put an A up against that one. So either this one or this one. They both are nice. So in context from bar 6th, I think B flat over an A would work better in that case, because you're resolving from the G minor chord to C7 flat 9. So the 5th of G goes down to the flat 9. Okay. Play this root, flat 7, and then the chord after. It's dissonant, right? But if you resolve it, it works. Then you get to this chord. Think about that like this voicing where you've got the A flat, this is the 9th, this is the 3rd, this is the sharp 11, and this is the sharp 5. Listen to that voicing, right? In the right hand, you can play all 5 notes. The flat 7, the 9th, the 3rd, the sharp 11, and the sharp 5. Listen to that. Now, by itself, yeah, doesn't sound great, but if you put it in context, right, so a lot of cool voicings there that I use, right, from the top. And I'll remind you of these as we go through them. So first chords, G minor over C to C7, plus 5, plus 5. There's the F over A flat. C minor, C7 flat 9. Then play the 13th after. Here comes that A flat 7, sharp 11. One more time. Some nice cool sounds. Let's check in with you, see what you think. Suzanne loves my socks and the piano. I appreciate that. Thank you. And grateful for the invite. Well, I'm grateful that you made it. Thanks for coming. Season's greetings from Rhode Island. Hey, Lawrence. Glad you showed up. A little bit late, but that's okay. Hey, Rich. Rich says, Paul, how does the B section harmony work to break up the constant 1-6-2-5 pattern? Well, yeah, you're really anticipating where I want to go. Rich, you're always reading my mind. But yeah, we're not there yet, but we'll go there now because it looks like we've exhausted the A section completely. So let's move on. I'm going to go here, and I think if I go and take a screenshot of that, most of that, because it's on the B section bleeds into the second page. So hopefully that's all on your screen. And it is, which is really good. So it just repeats. It's not on your screen, but it would just go back to here. There's where the change comes, right here. So here's how I handle this. The change is here. So this chord itself, because we've been really dealing in root and then the third of the chord, which is A minor 7, right? So in this particular case, the reason why this breaks it up is because we're going to gently slip into G minor for a second. So instead of F major, we're going to slip into G minor, and this would be a 2-5 of G minor. Now, I realize in the melody note, we've got an A, and it's typically a G7 chord, but that's what it signifies. So this is, think of A half diminished seventh like a C minor triad over A shell voicing. So A, root, flat 7, and then a C minor chord in the right hand. Makes a nice voicing. You could arpeggiate that too. Sounds very different than just C minor. Listen, that's C minor. This is C minor over A7. So it's like it's a chord that needs to be resolved. Part of the reason for that is it has a tritone in it, which is here. But yeah, it's there. And then D7 with the flat 9. So flat 9 here. There's that voicing we did again, right? It's got the flat, what do we call that? The minor second. Now, the way that I handle that, and you might not do this, but the way I do it is I play this A half diminished seventh for 2 bars, like that, and then I play the D7 flat 9 chord for 2 bars. Because rather than putting pauses on it, you don't want to pause in the middle of a jazz solo, right? So if you're playing with a band, make sure you let them know that you're going to play 2 bars of A half diminished seventh and 2 bars of D7 flat 9. So if we started here, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2. Okay. So that's how I handle the rhythm for that. I realize in the sheet music, it's only over 2 bars, but that's because it's a lead sheet and you can do whatever you want. And in the lead sheet, of course, you have these pauses, but you can't do that, like I said, when you're playing in time. So when I'm soloing, I'm thinking, like I said, 2 bars of each chord. So that would make 4 bars there rather than 6 bars across the line. So that evens it out, right? You have to think about even bars and even phrases, okay? So that is totally different than the A section because now you have an extra 4 bars that were never there before. Because if, like, actually, yeah, it's an extra 4 bars. Now, what did I do when I played the melody and there's nothing going on for those 2 bars? It's just like one melody note. What do? I fill. So like this. I fill with like either chords and inversions of chords, arpeggios, whatever, but I also like to solo there like this. Not the best soloing, but you get the idea, right? Now, everything else is sort of the same, except you've got this tag section, right? So G7, G7, C7 to A minor, and then this. So that's just a reharmonization. You don't need to do that. I gotta get rid of this writing utensil because I'm gonna like start making marker marks all of my stuff, but I should just get rid of that, which I just did. What was I doing? Oh yeah, here. Seniors moment. You've got G plus 7. The melody note is the sharp 5. That's why it's a G plus 7. So G, F, third, B, sharp 5, E flat. And then G7 sharp 11, which is just a tritone substitution of C7 going to F. The reason why it's a sharp 11 is because you've got the major, you've got the 7th in the melody, and then up against it, you can put this C note, which is the sharp 11, like that. Nice bass movement down. Okay. Here's the B section. We're now at the top of the page, right? Here's the A half diminished 7th. Yeah, fun. Hope that answers your question, Rich. A lot of it's the same, but you've got those extra 4 bars in there, which is kind of fun. Susan says, gorgeous chords. Thank you. Much appreciated for that. I appreciate your explanation of the chords. They are easier to understand when you break them down. Well, I mean, that's the nature of chords. If you explain something, it becomes a little less cryptic for sure. Here's what I'm going to do. We are starting to tick down on time. So I'm going to do 2 things. First, I'm going to introduce to you this, which is, and I wanted to read a little bit of this because we're going to call it, and after I play, we're going to do the end reveal too, so stick around for that. We're going to go a little bit over today. We do that very often here on the channel because we don't mind hanging out on a Saturday when we have nothing else to do. We just learn something, which is kind of fun. Let's do this. Yeah. So this is my new transcription book. It's called Jazz for the Holidays. It's like 62 pages long. Let's go through it a little bit. there's the table of contents. So it includes 9 tunes, all arranged and all like transcriptions, many of them done by PJ, who's here today. Like, for example, God Rest You Merry Gentlemen, and there's some solos that he transcribed, which is kind of fun. And then a lot of the other stuff is just transcribed by me. But anyway, these are like Christmas classics turned into jazz. The thing I like about this book, and there's like a forward here, and then there's a description of every tune. So Carol of the Bells, and there's links in the book. For example, Carol of the Bells, if you click that link, it takes you to the actual performance from which the transcription was derived from, which is kind of nice. And then if there's a backing track, which on a couple of tunes there's a bass and drums backing track that you can click and download that and practice along with it. And then, so then it shows the tune, which is the entire piano. There's a piano solo. It keeps going, keeps going, keeps going. And then the next tune is God Rest You Merry Gentlemen. It does it all over again. Introduction, in this case, almost like a page and a half, and then it gets into the tune. So think about it like, if you actually look at the table of contents, which I'm not sure if you can see. Nope, you can't see that. All right, because it's off the right-hand side of your screen. But if you could see it, you see the table of contents, and you can click in the table of contents to move to each section. Now, I wanted to just read you, and there's the cover. Let's go all the way down. There's the back cover. It's a full book, and you can print it. I have some people for the other book, which is sold very well, which people have asked me to print them and send them copies. I'm still working on that, but for right now, it's just digital. I wanted you to read you the foreword. I can't read the first chapter because I get all emotional. It's really about the book being dedicated to my wife, Nancy, and our cancer struggles and stuff like that. But let me read you from here. I think you can see it on your screen. Yeah, you can. So I'll read. I still remember the smell of pine needles and candle wax drifting through the sanctuary at midnight on Christmas Eve. The junior choir, of which I was a part from age 7, made its way in a candle-lit procession from the back of the church to the choir loft. We were holding the candles in our hands like that, barely staying in tune, singing Silent Night, while my father, Reverend Arthur Toby, was putting his final thoughts together for his sermon about hope and light. That's where it started for me. My piano journey kicked off around this time with my feet dangling from the organ bench while Markwell J. Perry, the kindest, gentlest church organist God ever put on this earth, showed me how to turn Silent Night into something that could make grown men cry. Classical music training came first, jazz snuck in later at university, and somewhere along the lines, the two worlds collided under the Christmas tree and have continued for many years. And my love of Christmas music is right in there. This book is the love child of that collision. There's something downright sacred about these melodies. They're simple enough for a child to hum. Yes? Da, 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 da. Simple enough for a child to hum, sturdy enough to hold a lifetime of harmonic mischief. All the things that we talked about today. We can't help but season it, sear it. Oh, wait. Give a jazz pianist a great Christmas tune, and it's like handing a master chef a perfect cut of beef. We can't help but season it, sear it, and serve it back richer, smokier, and twice as soulful. That's what I've been doing every Christmas time for decades, and what you now hold in your hands, well, maybe not yet, is the first time I've ever let the curtain all the way up. And so, yeah, these are transcriptions of me playing Christmas music. And you'll never find another Christmas book like it. In fact, it's very difficult to find solos over Christmas tunes. But that's what this is. And if you look at your email, you're going to get an email with a coupon code. But let me put it on the screen. Nope, not that one. There. Jazz for the Holidays. Transcription link is in the chat. Let me grab it. While we're here, might as well. There you go. And use the coupon code, which is, let's take that off, which is Jazz Holidays. And so the entire book if you bought things separately, is about $175. It is on sale in the store for $97, but I just gave you another like $20. So there you go. Let's play our way out. And then when I come back from this second version, oh, one thing I did want to mention. As a bonus, I'm going to get PJ to transcribe one of these pieces today, and we'll include it with your purchase. But only the people that purchase it this weekend before Sunday midnight is whatever I play now or whatever I played at the beginning. I'll listen back to both versions. We're going to transcribe that, or PJ is. You didn't know that, right, PJ? He's going to transcribe it, and we're going to send it along with the sheet music book. So another added bonus. Typically, those are like $30 just for those transcriptions. So anyway, there you go. That's our Black Friday deal, and that's the only one we're running. So let me play, and we'll see you right after this for the end reveal. Now, of course, if I do transcribe that, which I think might work really well, there's some interest. You don't have to learn the whole thing, but there are definitely parts of that that are very Christmassy, but they're also jazz. So the two of them combined is this collision of ideas, like I said, that I've been doing for many, many years. Question from Jerry. When you double up on the A half diminished and D7 flat 9 in bar 30 and 31, do you still retain the G7 and C7 flat 9 in bars 32? Yes, I do. I do. This is G7. So yes, the answer to that question. They do not disappear. Correct. I think he said the B has an extra 4 bars. It does. Love that other motif. It's just the B section. It's Allison, when you play it as straight ahead swing, you have to add the 4 bars. You can't just play 2 bars because it just, you wouldn't get an even amount of notes, of measures. So yeah, there you go. All right, let's do end reveal. This is my 1 major 7 left-hand comping voicing. I use it not all the time, but I use it a lot. I think you remember from today that I talked about minor seconds here, especially when playing dominant 7th chords with a flat 9 and a 13. So this is a C7 flat 9 13 chord surrounded by octaves, right? The 13th. But this minor second can also work, funnily enough, for a major 7th chord, because if you go F major 7, the next note is an F, right? So you've got this minor second. So I like this voicing, which is this. You'll hear me do that a lot. It doesn't even have a third in it. So it would be an F major 7, third inversion, get rid of the A, which is the third, and just play it like this. It's like a hollow voicing, very Bill Evans. And then you could even do it for minor 7th chords like G minor 7. So there you go. There's my 1 major 7 left-hand comping voicing, which I don't think a lot of piano players do. I like it, and I hope it works for you. Going to incorporate lots of ideas from this masterclass. Thank you so much. I don't know who KKL808 is, but whatever your name is, I'm glad you're going to use some things from it. Definitely works for things like Alice in Wonderland and Waltz for Debbie. Very similar. All right, that's it for today. I don't think there's anything else I had to do. I gave you the PDF, which is going to disappear because we're going to end the live stream. It's at the top of your screen. Click the link before it disappears. I talked about the new Jazz for the Holidays transcription book. It funds the channel, helps us keep doing what we do, and I put a lot of work into it. So I hope some of you take me up on my offer. And then obviously I'm going to transcribe one of the tunes that I played today, or one of the versions of this, and we're going to put it as a bonus, and I might even actually put it in the book. The tune is already there, but this solo is not. Thanks for hanging out with me. I will see you next Saturday, same time, same place. Maybe we'll do some more Christmas, or maybe we'll do something else. We'll see how I'm moved next weekend. And I appreciate all of you. None of this would be possible without you. And if you could, once we end the thing, go to the video, even if the replay doesn't start yet, but go to the video and you can watch the replay anytime you want. But go there, click the thumbs up button, and make a comment. It really helps us out here at the channel because we're always looking for new people and we can't reach them unless you help me out with that. Thanks so much for your time, everyone.